Hey everybody, it's Mark from Circle the Dark Mother. Today we're going to talk about when God was a black woman and sometimes still is. So most scientists believe that Homo sapiens first evolved in Africa about 315,000 years ago. There is a debate whether other locations were also involved, but right now this is the best guess we have based on the fossil record. There were, of course, other members of the Homo genus, some that predated modern humans, like Homo erectus, and others that evolved outside of Africa, like Homo neanderthal and Homo denisova. But even if you don't believe the out of Africa theory of human origins, we have to consider the mitochondrial Eve. This refers to the fact that all humans living today that have been DNA tested share a common female ancestor who lived in Africa about 300,000 years ago. Mitochondria is the cell's energy center, is passed down from mother to child, both boys and girls, but the father does not pass down mitochondria, just the mother. We can track the mutations in human mitochondria all the way back to the original copy that is shared by women in Africa that have not left, their family has never left. We also know through genetics that our ancestors, early Homo sapiens, also mated with Neanderthals, up to 5% in people of European descent, and Denisovans up to 8% in certain Asian populations. And only people whose family stayed in Africa, never left, and never had any, children from somebody outside of Africa, they are the only ones that do not have other DNA like Neanderthal and Denisovan. We have no idea what our ancient ancestors or our Neanderthal and Denisovan cousins believed, but we do know that they all buried their dead, usually with offerings such as jewelry or flowers, and that they were creative, cave paintings, jewelry, etc. The oldest statuary we find are that of very full-figured women with very curly hair. It is believed that these statues represented a goddess who was probably worshipped fertility based on her size. We also know that humans tend to worship deities that look somewhat like them. That means that our very ancient African ancestors probably, almost definitely, worshipped a goddess who was dark-skinned with curly black hair. Additionally, white skin tone did not evolve until about 50,000 years ago in Europe. Prior to this date, even European hunter-gatherers were dark-skinned. There may have been instances of albinism, but actual Caucasian white-skinned individuals were non-existent. It is believed that this skin tone was a mutation that was beneficial in the cold of Europe, and it thrived. Because all humans had some form of dark skin before the mutation, all deities most likely were dark-skinned as well. As humanity spread out across the world and people became an amalgam of various skin colors, hair colors, eye colors, and hair textures, then deities would have started to be depicted and worshipped with these same diverse characteristics. I personally see this with Lilith. We don't know how far Lilith goes back in worship, by what names and in what locations. We only know what is available through the written record. The first writing we have on cuneiform is Mesopotamian and dates to approximately 3500 BCE. We start to see references to various wind spirits with names start with Lil. We also encounter art at Lily, and later Lilitu and the lake. We will explore other names. It says later in this book, this is from my next book, actually. At this point, the Sumerian people lived in villages and city-states throughout Mesopotamia. Their name for themselves was the black-headed people. Archaeologists don't know where they originally came from, but they depicted themselves with dark hair and medium dark skin. They probably resembled their descendants that live in the Middle East today, with less diversity in skin tone. Because Lilith was a goddess in their pantheon, it is very likely that she was dark-haired and dark-skinned in their beliefs. As Lilith was picked up by the Israelites, the Canaanites, the Akkadians, and the Assyrians, she began to take on Semitic appearance because the people mentioned above were all Semitic peoples. Their language is Semitic. Her legends then took hold in Europe, and she gradually gained lighter skin tones, lighter hair colors, and a great variety of appearances. If we accept the biblical story of Adam and Eve, who were called the first people, although more likely the first Homo sapiens, if the story is to be believed, they would have been Black African natives. Lilith, on the other hand, was not incarnate per the Midrash and was instead a spirit. My belief is that throughout history, she has appeared as a Black woman, a Middle Eastern woman, a Semitic Jewish woman, and also as a white European woman, because she is spirit and takes whatever form she needs and how the people picture her. While I believe this to be true, we must remember that her origins are that of a woman of color, Black, and what we would today call Arabic. I'm going to focus on her from the time of Sumer and beyond, because that is where we have the written records and can speak from archaeology and scholarship. So I just think this is really important for us to remember, no matter what we look like. First of all, our deities, if they are of any age, would be Black with curly hair and dark hair. Again, as people's changed, their depiction of deity changes. So we can see them in various racial types because deities appear as people need them to. And we depict our deities the way we look because that's how we feel comfortable. But remember, the origin of all deities was African. And it appears from all of the statues and records we have that goddesses were the first. So God was a Black woman. And when I say she still sometimes is because she can still be depicted as a Black woman, depending on the culture that is worshiping her. So don't lose sight of the fact that our origins and our current state may be different, but they all come from the same place. Thank you. Hopefully that was interesting. And if you have any questions, post them in the comments. Thank you.